Today, we're talking about time and how the applicable principles of persistence, patience, and planning can open doors for you. Welcome to Behind the Curtain of Letting Destiny Deliver. I'm joined by Dr. James Rini, author and psychotherapist with 47 years of experience. I'm the Curiosity Conduit, a retired law enforcement officer and current master's student in clinical mental health counseling. So stay open, stay curious, and let's see what destiny delivers. So, what is time? To make time a practical concept, we must understand it as movement or motion. The notion that time is motion becomes especially apparent when we stop to think that a 24-hour day is equivalent to one rotation of the Earth on its axis, or that a year is equivalent to one rotation of the Earth around the sun. So, what is time? So, we're thinking about time, it's movement and motion.
Yes, time is motion because life is a journey. Okay. And if you think about it, being passive is not healthy. We're told to be active. Being sedentary is what gives us disease because our DNA is designed to be in action, doing things. Okay. So life is being in motion. If you are passive and do nothing, you let life pass you by. And we can, the analogies are with the 24-hour day because that's how long it takes the earth to rotate on its axis. A minute is 60 seconds long, but also think of time in different speeds. Like a millisecond is time in fast motion. You ever see the clock, like at a basketball game or whatever, and you see it goes down by the tenths how fast it's moving? We see time in slow motion. That's why we don't notice it moving. Like the earth is rotating and whirling through the universe, but we feel like we're sitting still right now. So time is motion, and you want to build a momentum so that journey allows you to achieve all that you can achieve on that journey. But you have to take action in order to achieve that. You have to be in motion.
Yes.
You only have so much time to achieve your potential in all its various aspects. Time is a gatekeeper because it opens and closes doors. This fact means that your destiny depends in part on your ability to be in the right place at the right time.
And we've all heard those sayings, right? Like, oh, I was in the right place at the right time,
Yeah.
just by chance. Is it by chance? Can it be by chance?
Whatever chance means, yes. Chance plays a part in so many things, does it not?
Sure. Like,
Well, by chance, you'll figure it out. But it is a gatekeeper. Like being a woman, you can only have children up to a certain age. And that determines a lot for women in their relationships. Guys have forever. Women, I have to get, married or pregnant by a certain time or I won't. And then that pressure a lot of times makes it hard to get pregnant because you're putting that pressure on there. So, same thing, like as a parent, enjoy your kids because they're going to be small for a short period of time. So that's what I mean by it opens and closes doors. Much easier to go to college when you're younger and don't have too much responsibility than if you're older, married, have family, kids, job. It's much harder because you don't have as much time on your hands to partake. So in that sense, it's a gatekeeper too. And being in the right place at the right time, like you said, is chance. But there is a saying that I think Louis Pasteur said, chance favors the prepared man. Like we all go to college and we major in something and we take a chance on it. It may lead to a career, it may not.
that ties in with having awareness.
When you said it, this is what I first heard about awareness. I would say being attuned to yourself.
Yes.
Okay, like what I majored in school in 1974 was not at all supported anywhere because psychology and counseling was not something people did. But I was attuned to myself enough to know that me wanting to do it was more important than what I was being told. And that door did not open for many years later. It wasn't like, I did it in the next week. So awareness, but I would say also attunement to oneself.
Attunement. That's, yeah.
And because sometimes the outside world will be discouraging, but if you're attuned to yourself and listen to yourself, chance will then work in your favor because you're in the flow. When you don't listen to yourself, it's when you're not attuned with yourself that chance is trying to get you in the right direction, but it has to do it in a negative way. Whereas when you're going down the right path, chance is there, but it is usually facilitating where you want to go. Like in between my bachelor's and master's, I applied to a program and got rejected. Didn't know what I was going to do. And working in the mall, in the shoe store, and this guy comes up to me and goes, "Oh, I remember you from undergraduate." He goes, "What are you doing these days?" And I told him about applying to grad school and not getting in. He goes, "Oh, there's another program, counseling program that you could apply to," which I did and got in, and it changed my life totally. What are the odds of an individual coming into the store, recognizing me, knowing me from academics? I mean, I could have never foreseen that or guessed that.
So, what do you think that is?
It was chance, but chance worked in my favor because I went ahead and got the undergraduate degree, taking the chance that you have to get into graduate school. And back then it was much harder to get into graduate school because you couldn't just get online graduate schools.
Mm-hmm.
So I was taking that chance. But then, something that I was totally not in my control was my answer that I had even asked myself the question yet. What do I do next? And what's interesting too, if you want to take it even further down woo-woo land, when I was like 17 and living at home, I had this dream, and there was a bunch of us walking, across Hubert Humphrey Bridge to Merritt Island. And this one guy stops at me, he was wearing a coat, and he says to me, "See you in Orlando," and then walked on. And I don't even know that I picked Orlando to go to school yet at that point. But it's kind of that man walked in, picked me out, because again, there was, and see you in graduate school, I said, whatever. So it's kind of weird to have that dream and then have somebody just walk in where there are massive other people. And
So, what would Carl Jung say about that?
what would he say about that?
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of what we're talking about here, that when you're attuned to your purpose and meaning, the universe tends to push you or give you opportunities to move in that way. If you don't, it's going to beat you over the head with a 2x4 until you finally wake up,
Learn.
learn.
Yes, I agree. The keys to being in the right place at the right time lie in the proper use of persistence, patience, and planning. Because these three things let you tap the power and momentum created by the three dimensions of time: the past, the present, and the future. So, the key to being in the right place at the right time: persistence, patience, and planning. So, we're going to get into those three portions in a moment. But the three dimensions of time: the past, the present, and the future. What do you have to say about that?
Well, you have the height, width, and length. Those are the three dimensions. And looking at something one-dimensional is certainly different than looking at it two-dimensionally. And yet another thing to look at it three-dimensional. Things like a stick figure is what, one-dimensional essentially?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Three dimensions just allow you to perceive it in ways that you can't perceive it if you're only perceiving it one or two dimensions. So, but we're all tasked with dealing with that because, we have a past, and the past tends to be thought about in the present. And then there's the future. We often replace the present with the past unfinished business, or the future, the uncertainty, the fears, the anxieties that we have, and don't always take advantage of the present.
So, do they all matter? The past, the present, and the future? Or is one more important than the other?
Well, I don't know. They say that whoever they are, that they're all present at the same time. And I would say that because sitting right here, my past is present. I'm present in the present, and my future is also present because we're going to read a few more of these, and that's in my future, presently speaking. And how do I harness those three dimensions? Like a lot of people get stuck in the past. They become bitter. They become prejudiced and biased, and so they get stuck. So they're not able to move into the present or the future because their past keeps intruding in the ability to be in the present, okay? As opposed to taking the past and deriving the truth that you need out of it in order to move into the present and the future. Like one time I was very confused and very upset in how people were treating
Treating.
me as a person. I mean, this is when I was a teenager.
Oh.
Okay. And I blamed myself, and then my mother said to me, "Are you disappointed in your friends?" And I hadn't looked at it from that perspective. And instantly that was the answer. Yeah, it's not me, it's them. So it allowed me to move into the future because I was no longer carrying that feeling of inadequacy anymore.
I love that. I do love that.
And then I was able to move into the future with a feeling of adequacy, which totally reversed what I was experiencing. And it's as if the whole universe knew, because I didn't even have to do anything to make that happen. It just happened automatically.
That's nice. Hearing you say that, though, makes me think of many people and they're trying to break up with somebody. Yeah, it's not me, it's you.
Exactly. So we have to learn how to harness, how to use those, like patience and planning, because things don't always work out the way we want to. But sometimes them not working out the way we want them is to put us on the right path. The way we wanted to was the wrong path.
I always have looked not always, I do look at it this way now. It may not have been what I wanted, it was just what I needed.
Yeah, because a lot of times good things come out of bad things.
Definitely, they do.
Yeah.
Uh, 100%. I mean, I've saw this all in law enforcement, all the nasty things that happen in this world. I got to see beautiful things also come from them.
Mm.
So, the first key, persistence, prevents slow progress from dwindling into nothing because being persistent means that you are not a quitter. This reminds me, I've known people who were drinkers and smokers and said, "I'm not a quitter." They have they have the persistence. But I don't think that's what this is meaning here. Can you go into what this really means?
Really, the law of gradual development, the law of nature is that things develop gradually. Okay, like on Earth, it takes about 100 years for any significant evolution. In the heavens, it takes about 1,000 years for any significant evolution to occur. So it occurs very slowly. And the same thing, like when I was, in students in psychology and you had counseling, always want to have better skills faster, but it takes time. You have to have, two or 300, cases under your belt no matter what. So you can't speed that up. But if you're not doing well and you give up, may not mean that you weren't good at it. It just means you didn't have enough practice. You didn't cross that threshold. Michael Jordan sucked in high school, supposedly, but we all know how that ended up. So persistence and patience and sticking, because people give up. They give up, or oh, I can't do this, all the things where it got me through my dissertation. That's it. Like it took me one semester short of 5 years to do my dissertation. I had my master's degree from 0 to master's in 5 years, let alone 5 years to do one project. Okay?
You were busy, I'm sure.
No, it just, I was busy, but no busier than I was prior to that. But what got me through it is perseverance prevents slow progress from dwindling into nothing. Because there are a lot of people out there that are ABDs.
All right. What is ABDs?
Means they did everything they needed in the doctorate except their dissertation. All but dissertation. But I didn't quit. I didn't give up. And I completed it. One semester shy of 5 years. And I'll tell you why that's significant. Because if I didn't finish it in 5 years, I'd have to go back and take my qualifying exams all over again, which are exams over all your coursework. There can be any question they want to ask. And since it's been 5 years since I had coursework, I didn't want to go back and do that. And patience, is the second key, patience, which is just as important as persistence when it comes to harnessing the forces of time. Where persistence empowers you to overcome setbacks and adversity, patience empowers you to overcome the fact that things don't always happen as quickly as you'd like. And that's why that's important as well.
Patience is so important. I noticed that most people do not have them these days. Or probably, when I say these days, I just remember a time when I was younger, though, that it seemed like people had more patience when I was younger, but maybe I was looking at the world differently at that time. I feel like since technology with the internet and the phones and the TVs and everything's so accessible right now. Like, no commercials, no nothing. I mean, there could be commercials, but you can, go right through them.
We like immediate gratification.
Yes. Yes. And they can have it and people can have it, so why not? So why be patient for it? I didn't ask this before, but I'm gonna go back to persistence and I'll tie this into patience. When you are somebody who does procrastinate, who is having a hard time with persistence, what are some of the things that they can do to help break that?
You ask $16 million questions as if they were, everyday questions. Well, the only, to make it simple, I think people procrastinate because they get overwhelmed.
This is why I ask the master the questions, because you nicely simplified that. You're getting overwhelmed. Yes.
And so the key is just to start. Like when I take tests at school, the first thing I do is put my name because I knew I could get that one right. So I was starting off on a winning track. Like in AA, in order to not get overwhelmed with the idea you can never drink again, you take it one day at a time. So again, you start somewhere. It doesn't matter where you start.
And figure out what feels right for you, wherever that starting point is, right?
Right. But I think it's because the person's overwhelmed.
Yeah, and being able to identify that, I think, is, one of the biggest things for an individual.
Well, especially because people that call themselves procrastinators, which then can lend to, well, I'm lazy, or, that then, well, that's just who I am. So you procrastinate all the time.
And you're saying it and telling it to yourself, and so now you are.
Right. It becomes an identity rather than a state of mind, which is you're overwhelmed.
All right, I'd like to tie that into also patience. When somebody is lacking the patience where they know they need to just kind of stop themselves and take a moment and really ask, like, is it needed for me to get all heated or just move on to the next thing without giving this time, whatever this quote unquote is? What do you say about that?
So I think people become impatient because they've lost the ability to pause. Because you have all kinds of reactions when you're being impatient, thoughts, feelings, body reactions, and it can very easily take over. And then you're impatient because you are acting on your reactions. Patience isn't that you don't have the reactions. Patience is the ability to regulate the reaction such that it doesn't get in the way of what you're planning. And that takes time. It takes years to develop because the reflex reaction is to be impatient. The skill is to be patient. And to develop skills again, it takes 200 or 300 experiences under your belt.
And the more somebody practices it and takes the time to think about it and balance the situation and their thoughts and their reactions.
Well, you regulate higher parts of your brain. Being impatient is using the most primitive part of your brain.
And so when somebody feels that regulation starting to be more natural, that's when the person is experiencing true change within themselves, correct?
Well, I think, yeah, the change of being able to better regulate yourself.
Okay.
It's you controlling you rather than you being controlled by you.
So finally, we have the third key, planning. It empowers the future because chance favors the prepared mind. So I've heard in my studies that I've done throughout my lifetime, just now, the present, you're living right now, doesn't mean you don't plan for the future, right? Planning and being prepared and doing things now in the
Like
present.
retirement is planning for the future.
It is.
You're making the money now, but hopefully you're planning for the future as well, because part of what happens when you retire is you don't necessarily have an income anymore, but you still have to pay bills.
Yeah, that is true for some people.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Or their income doesn't meet their bills or what have you. So again, you plan for that. How you do that along the way requires persistence, especially with retirement. You just can't plan. You need to take action and keep doing it. Like savings, you can't put it in a savings account and take it out, and put some in and take it out. It's a checking account, then it's not a savings account.
So I've always thought of planning, well, not always, but for a really long time when I heard a brilliant man say this, do what you got to do so you can do what you want to do. And this individual was really talking about finances. And it goes beyond that, planning and planning for your future for the things that you want to do, just like I'm doing right now. I would like to be able to be within the profession that you're doing currently, and I'm going to school for that, and learning from you, learning from the people who I work with, and that hopefully will help me prepare in a better way for my future. When you have encountered individuals who are more reactive in life than proactive, meaning they just handle everything right now, would that also follow like under overwhelmed?
Underwhelmed?
Overwhelmed?
Oh, sure. See, but to have one of these paradoxes, having no plan is a plan too.
And what does having no plan do?
Well, that's your plan. I don't know. It's like planning to win the lottery for your retirement. Odds are about 1 in 17 million that's going to work.
So there's a chance.
Not a very good one. That's a Hail Mary time 10. And the other thing I would say, like what you're talking about, the planning, it's manifesting. This is who I want to become. And planning that means it now my consciousness becomes selective in that the things I'm selecting are part of my plan.
So this is one of those positive self-fulfilling prophecies that you can do for yourself.
Yes. As again, consciousness is selective. And if I'm planning X, Y, or Z, then I will select those things, that allow me to jump those hurdles. Learning how to work with this natural cycle of opportunity and adversity means that you don't personalize adversity or develop feelings of inadequacy because you're having bad times. Instead, apply the principles of persistence, patience, and planning in an objective and focused manner.
When I hear this is something that I try to do often in tough situations or even in good situations. What can I learn from this? In the bad situations, I have the belief it's something that is needing to be there for me to learn from. So you can take something positive out of it and apply it and make it less seeming like a bad time. What do you say about that?
Well, I agree with you. I just want to throw one more thing in there that could be lost. The first part of the sentence is important too. Learning how to work with the natural cycle of opportunity and adversity. It is a cycle. We're going to have adversity in our life as well as opportunity. Because a lot of people beat themselves up if they have adversity or if they make wrong choices, as opposed to just seeing it as a natural cycle. And then the moon has its cycles. We don't personalize a quarter moon or a half moon. We don't develop feelings around that. I mean, we do around full moon because that's when the lunatics come out, they say, or whatever. Yeah, to see it as a natural cycle, we have to take the good with the bad. And the bad brings about good, like we talked about before. Therapy is the opportunity for a lot of learning to take place, but it takes pain to get the person in a position where they want help or want to get rid of their pain. It's just how do you make the most of both opportunities, adversity and opportunity. And part of the way I make use of it, having lived a lifetime now, and which I think helps, is when something bad happens, I'm thinking what good is going to come out of that, rather than what awful things are going to come from it, what catastrophic things are coming from it. Not that that might not cross my mind, but I'm also thinking what good is going to come out of it. Or as people like to say, they make lemonade out of lemon. I mean, I like to, what utility does this experience have, either good or bad?
So, part of the key to letting destiny deliver, you can't just have persistence without patience, patience without planning.
You need all three
You need all three.
because of the cycle again of opportunity and adversity.
Yes.
And those are the things that allow you to weather those storms and the sunny days.
So, if you're an individual who's listening and you may have issues with persistence or patience or planning, now it's time to really start to meet on the pathways, if you haven't already, and start with pathway one of awareness of self and just start there and move on. Because as you go through the pathways, it will allow you to be able to work through the persistence, patience, and planning properly.
As opposed to
As a
emotionally. See, because that's what I said, planning in an objective and focused manner.
Yes.
A lot of times it's the emotion. Oh, I can't do this, or I give up, or
But the pathway is the beginning part and going into self and the conscious and unconscious minds, having that awareness is you're going to be able to, and you start going through it, it's going to allow you to be able to be more balanced. And you were talking about regulated, be more rational about things and having that awareness about yourself. And as you go through the pathways, it will start to be able to allow you to be, like you were saying, more regulated and for the persistence, patience, and planning, so you can actually see when the door is open because you'll be more attuned with yourself.
exactly.
I'm sure there was a much more simpler way to say that, but that's what I have. Basically, turning those bad times into something that you can plan in an objective manner and focused to help you. So, thank you so much for joining Dr. Rini and I on this journey behind the curtain of letting destiny deliver. Join us next time as we will discuss self knowledge and layers of protection. Remember to subscribe and like, and questions or comments are welcome below. Now ask yourself, what part of your life might destiny be trying to speak through right now? Keep exploring, stay curious, and remember, Destiny isn't something you chase, it's something you allow. Until next time, be well.